Good morning and welcome to another podcast with the London Irish Foundation. My name is Joe Pegg and I'm the Foundation Manager at London Irish. We have Vicky, who is our Prince's Trust team lead, and we have Skye, who is a student on our Prince's Trust Reading team programme. We would like to talk today about Skye's journey. Skye has a very, very interesting story and we think it's really relatable to what's going on and how one education programme can really transform somebody's lives. So I'm going to introduce you to Skye, and Skye is going to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her story from school and college and to where she is now on our Prince's Trust team program. So welcome, Skye.
Hiya, thank you for having me on. So my name is Skye, as Joe said. I'm 16 years old and right now I'm at college studying math and English. Alongside that, I'm doing a course called the Prince's Trust. Within this course, I'm up for other courses that come with it, and it's been a great going along with it. We're on week 10 now, and blimey, the transformation that's come along with it. So before college, I was in secondary school, and within secondary school, I was going from year 8 because, well, I wasn't homeschooled. I had to come out for a little bit for 6 months, as I used to live in a completely different area. So when joining in year 8, it came in halfway through and I was a boy, and right there I was the same as everyone else, doing everything I needed to do, getting my education. Later on in life, it came on to I was 13 years old and I realised I was transgender. It wasn't just then, but throughout my entire life, I've been always having that female connection and realizing I was more than just what people saw. I came out as transgender, so I'm transferring from male to female. Within being transgender, it's not just having clothes and having your name changed. It's having the right amount of people and having support. When coming out in a secondary school, there's going to be a lot of hate and a lot of discrimination. So with that, you've got to just build yourself up and have that support around you, which luckily for me, I had. In secondary school, I went on to becoming 15 and having a lot of close friends all supporting me. Within that, I got into a lot of trouble in school and I was very much determined to improve myself. I was put down a lot, especially in lessons, and I wasn't being recognised for the good things. So I was acting out. When going on into college, I was able to be myself, be someone else who people didn't know. And I was able to just express who I was. When going to college, I was doing a different course, which was childcare, and this was before the Prince's Trust. When doing the childcare course, I was introduced to new people and I was able to make new friends. That was great because I'm still friends with them now, as well as going on and making new friends. Now I'm doing the Prince's Trust and I've made so many more friends, which has helped with my support and has helped with my self-confidence.
That's fantastic, Skye, and it's really great to hear how a program can really support you. Obviously, not just with the actual qualification, but that secondary support that you've been kind of given by Vicky and the wider team. Unfortunately, we're still in a society where we still see a lot of abuse, whether it's on social media, whether it's face to face. We've seen a lot of press around footballers receiving a lot of racial abuse. You've also suffered a fair amount of abuse from school and college whilst you've been transitioning. Can you just tell us how you've overcome that and how you've got to a point where you're so positive and so supportive of other people?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in school and the group of people I had, I was friends with a lot of people. And then when I came out, people started to call me names and put me down a lot. And within that, my mental health did decline massively, and I did suicidal and I did self-harm. And so I decided to get myself some help, which was great, because from that, I made a smaller group and had a wider range of not just people, but communications to go to. So when being put down, I would go to my friends and ask them, how do I overcome this? And they would always go, just brush it off, don't worry about it. So the way I've been able to do things now is to push negativity aside and to just let positivity come on in and welcome it with open arms. It's been quite a transition from having a bunch of negativity to having a lot of positivity, because in secondary school, it was like, wow, everyone knows who you are. So everyone's just going to put you down because they know what your weaknesses are and who you are and everything about you. But going into college, yes, you do get a lot of negativity, but within that, you get friends who will support you and be by your side and lift you up when you need it, which has honestly been an absolute delight. It's as well as coming on to a new course or going to somewhere you don't know, like moving home from one place to another or moving countries. Like, your mental health is going to decline and it will get really hard. But the way you see past that is by seeing a positive and seeing what other outcomes can come from that.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Skye. And can you just tell us what your first impression of the Apprentice Trust course was like? I can imagine it was quite daunting, especially being an all virtual program where you kind of never have that face-to-face contact. But how did you find it? You know, what were your first, couple of days like? How did people welcome you? How did Vicky feel? Vicky, what were your first impressions?
So the first few days on the Apprentice Trust, the first day was absolutely nerve-wracking. I had no clue what to do, what to say, or how to act. So I was sat there with my camera on, not knowing a single soul. I was so nervous just to speak. And then we were all split up into different groups to get to know one another, like groups of 5 or 6, which was so much easier to talk. And we played some activities to get to know one another. The few days after that were just even better, because you started to find more information about everyone. So it just became that much easier to communicate and to maybe relate in some aspects to one another.
I think
and your first impression.
I think I phoned you, Joe, and said, oh my goodness, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I offend her? And I actually did my first one-to-one with Skye on the first Friday. And I was just completely transparent and said, look, whilst I have the biggest heart possible, I really don't want to offend you. And if I say anything, please don't take it in a bad way. And I think we kind of bonded then. And since then it's, I don't always agree with labels. I think often, certainly of your generation, Skye, that there seems to be this thing about having a label. And I just see someone as a person. And, you were very quiet at the start, and now you're like one of the, not loudest volume wise, but you're, honestly, when she starts giggling, I can't stop. But, you contribute, you help everybody else. You're always the first one turned, you're working on time. And I'm just glad that you feel comfortable, being on the call. And as I said, I don't label you as any different to anybody else on the course. And, I hope that this is like a stepping stone to go further and to get the career that you want.
Absolutely, yeah, it has been.
And I think that's the key with these type of programs. They are very much platforms onto that next step, whether it's employment, whether it's back into mainstream education, whether it's apprenticeship or traineeships. And obviously, you know, I know you're very keen to get into the education sector, working as a teacher or a teaching assistant. Can you just explain why you've chosen that career as your next step?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so from when I was a young age, I saw a lot of children who exactly the same as me, and they had additional needs, but I didn't know what that was then. So I thought that they were acting up or they had issues going on elsewhere. And as I started to grow up, I started to learn more about additional needs and the help people can get from it. So going into classrooms and going into school, you would see a lot of students with additional needs not get the help they need. And it's one of the most heartbreaking things to watch when you know that they have the potential, but people look at them like they're different because they've got something going on with them. And now I grew up with both of my brothers. So they're on the autism spectrum. And one of my brothers were diagnosed with 7 things all at once. But one of them, he wasn't diagnosed with anything, but he's definitely on there. So going into classrooms and just watching people not get the help they need because people don't understand or aren't educated on how to approach a situation with them or how to help them in a way that they need their help. It would honestly just be so much easier if someone had that experience with someone with additional needs or someone with a disability could go in and just give them that help that they need.
That's fab, and I love the fact with you, Skye, that although you've received a lot of hatred and negativity over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're still so positive and still looking to support. You know, there's no build up of frustration or anything like that. It's so good to see that, you know, you're using all of this negativity to fuel in the right way and to give back, and it's great to see. If you could kind of reach out to anybody that's listening that might be going through something similar, that might be going through, you know, their own process or battling their own mental health journey or anything like that, what bit of advice would you give them?
Strive to be the best you and don't let anyone bring you down.
Brilliant. I think on that note, Skye, I think we'll leave it there. I think it's been, you know, an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really hope that this kind of reaches out and can help. If it helps one person, which I'm sure it will, then I think your story is really worthwhile. So on behalf of the foundation, myself and Vicky and the team, massive thank you for joining us today. Hope you enjoy the weekend, and we look forward to seeing what's next for Skye.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.